China may buy more advanced Russian jets, ignoring U.S. sanctions. China is reportedly considering an offer to purchase more advanced Russian fighter jets, once again ignoring U.S. sanctions. The state-run TASS Russian news agency cited the Federal Service for Military Technical Cooperation as saying Wednesday it was expecting a response from China on our offer to purchase modern weapons and military equipment manufactured in Russia, including additional batches of Su-35 fighter jets. The aircraft is an upgraded version of the Sukhoi Su-27 and Beijing already bought 2 dozen for some $2.5 billion. Official China Central Television column Huayutang issued a report of its own Saturday suggesting that a second batch could help to further modernize the Chinese Air Force's aging fleet. On Sunday, however, Chinese air defense expert Fu Qianxiao told Chinese Communist Party tabloid The Global Times that there would likely be another reason for the purchase. Fu argued that, rather than simply bringing China's aerial capabilities up to date, such an acquisition would secure more spare parts and dedicated personnel involved in the Su-35 program. He also suggested that the purchase could have political and economic elements, demonstrating close ties between China and Russia at a time when their relationship with the U.S. deteriorated. This explanation was accepted by Michael Peck, writing Monday for the National Interest. The Diplomat's senior editor Franz Stefan Gatti also commented on the potential purchase, explaining Thursday that the Chinese Su-35 can reportedly be with air-to-air and air-to-ground missiles, unguided rockets, guided bomb units and unguided bombs including the R-27, A-10, Alamo, R-73, A-11 Archer, RVV family air-to-air missiles, as well as Kh-35E as-20 Kayak anti-ship missiles. Sukhoi described the Su-35 as a multi-purpose, super-maneuverable fighter of the 4th++ generation, that received its baptism of fire through its participation in Russia's campaign against rebels and jihadis seeking to overthrow the government in Syria. The aircraft was said capable of tracking up to 30 air targets at once and engaging 8, among other high-tech feats. China first signed a deal to buy 24 Su-35s back in 2015 and the Federal Service for Military Technical Cooperation reported last April that the delivery was complete. In September, the State Department announced it would be sanctioning the Equipment Development Department of China's Central Military Commission over its acquisition of Russia's Su-35 combat aircraft and S-400 surface-to-air missile system-related equipment. The first-ever use of the Countering America's Adversaries Through Sanctions Act angered both Moscow and Beijing, with Chinese Foreign Ministry spokesperson Zheng Shuang arguing at the time that Washington seriously violated the basic norms governing international relations and seriously damaged the relations between the two countries and the two militaries. The following day, Chinese President Xi Jinping and Russian President Vladimir Putin pledged to do more business in their respective national currencies to minimize their dependence on the US dollar at the Eastern Economic Forum in Russia's Vladivostok. Beijing has also joined Moscow for a record number of joint military exercises in recent years as Putin signed on to Xi's ambitious Belt and Road Initiative envisioning hundreds of billions of dollars worth of infrastructure projects across the globe. The U.S. has attempted to push back against China's growing economic clout abroad and has at the same time challenged its broad territorial claims in the contested waters of the South China Sea. The Su-35 has at times been dispatched for patrols in the disputed region, where China has repeatedly warned the U.S. Navy against freedom of navigation within the Pacific maritime borders claimed by Beijing. China, which was targeted by U.S. military sanctions on Thursday for buying Russian fighter jets and surface-to-air missiles, is one of Russia's key arms customers. Russia sold around $15 billion worth of weapons to the Chinese in 2017, maintaining a similar level of sales to the previous year, according to Rosoboronexport, the Russian agency responsible for military exports. The U.S. has said the sanctions, which relate to the purchase of Su-35 combat aircraft and an S-400 surface-to-air missile system, mainly target Russia, and it has no intention of undermining the defense capacity of other nations. Russia is the world's second biggest exporter of arms behind the United States, who together account for more than half of all global arms exports, according to the Stockholm International Peace Research Institute. China accounts for 6% of all sales and is among the top 5 importers of arms, along with India, Pakistan, the United Arab Emirates (UAE), and Saudi Arabia. The U.S. State Department said China received 10 Su-35 combat aircraft in December 2017, becoming the first foreign country to purchase Russia's upgrade to its Su-27. The Su-35 is powered by two AL-117S turbofan engines and fitted with thrust vectoring nozzles, enabling it to perform post-stall maneuvers at low speeds. The Su-35 also features a multifunctional radar capable of tracking up to 30 targets simultaneously. Beijing flexed its military muscle in May against Taiwan, flying Su-35 fighters with H-6K strategic bombers across the Bashi Channel between the self-ruled island and the northern islands of the Philippines. The State Department also said China bought an S-400 system this year, the first regimental set delivered as part of a contract signed in 2014. As one of the world's top air defense systems, the S-400 includes missiles with different ranges, from 40 km to 400 km, which can hit targets from altitudes of 10 meters to 30 km to form a multi-layer full coverage of defense. The S-400's advanced radar capability improves detection of stealth aircraft and the ability to counter electronic jamming. One S-400 system features 384 missiles and up to 72 launchers. It can track 300 targets at the same time and attack 36 at once. It can hit a target traveling at a maximum speed of 4,800 meters per second, or Mach 15. Russia is also set to sell the S-400 to Turkey, which has raised concerns within NATO.